This was early 2000s fashion. Kitten heels, mini skirts, tracksuits, chunky shoes, millennial pinks and blues, and everything cropped. I mean everything cropped. If you were tall, blonde, skinny, and white, well, girl, you were the it chick. Period. So I have one question. Dear early 2000s fashion, where are the plus size girls at? Wagwan roomies, and welcome back to my channel, and you're watching Rock's Room, where I do social commentary every week. So let's get on to the video. To talk about 2000s fat phobia, especially in fashion, I think it's very important that we bring up the fact that the deadly obsessions with flat stomachs really brought a lot of fat phobia in fashion and towards like people who did not have flat stomachs in that decade, like to the extreme. A lot of the fashion looks in the 2000s were very cropped and had low-rise jeans, which is basically to show off your, like your flat stomach and your hips. But if you didn't have a flat stomach, you weren't considered flattering. You were considered chubby or fat. And a lot of times, like, considering not having a flat stomach as fat or overweight or obese is completely false and can trigger a lot of emotional eating disorders for many people. And is a reason why today a lot of young women back then, especially young girls, have eating disorders or triggers when wearing like certain fashion clothing, because the 2000s basically told them that they couldn't wear that because of what they look like. You know, now you just wear what you want to wear. You don't need to look a certain way or have a certain shape. And in the 2000s, I don't really think there was a lot of people, different body types and shapes, representing clothing back in that early era. That's why Paris Hilton, Britney Spears, and Nicole Smith were basically the beauty standard of that era, and everyone else who wasn't like that wasn't really considered the beauty standard. So this is where anorexia and binging and a lot of that comes in, because when you're told you can't wear certain things because of what you look like, then a lot of people start having body dysmorphia. And then you feel like you can't be accepted into the society that you're in if you don't change what you look like. To make it even worse, movies and TV shows were literally just having a bunch of skinny women make fun of the fact that, oh, they have too much skin, or they're too fat, like their stomach's not flat enough. Like if you look at White Chicks, one of the girls who was in the changing room, she was like having a whole meltdown. Skinny girls trying to be fat phobic and try to say that they're fat makes other girls who are even skinny or not skinny feel even worse about themselves and what they look like. Sex and the City, there's a scene where one of the girls is eating ice cream and she doesn't have a flat stomach, and some of her stomach is purging out of her low-rise miniskirt. And the girls are like saying gross things, saying how you shouldn't eat that, you're overeating. Even in Mean Girls. I think the 2000s saw fat like as being such a taboo thing. And if you look and watch Disney Channel, a lot of the bigger or pluser size actresses like Raven-Symoné or Jennifer Stone, like they never wore anything cropped. If you watch That's So Raven, like Raven's looks, she was mostly wearing jean jackets or anything she could do to cover her, like, you know, upper arms on these areas. Only wear like things covering her stomach. And it kind of gave the narrative as just like, if you're plus size or if you're bigger or you're not skinny, you need to cover up. And you can even go on runways back in the early 2000s, like Melissa McCartney, Adele, Janelle Monáe, and a lot of what they're wearing, even Oprah, baggy suits all the time, frumpy looking clothing, a lot of jackets, anything they can to just cover their stomach or like their upper arms area. Whew, in the 2000s, thin privilege literally ran everything. If you were thin, you were considered to be it. You were considered to be the hot chick. And in a lot of movies from that decade, in that time period, like being the skinny girl was like the it chick, and the skinny girl always had to have a bunch of pink on her, like millennial pink and glitter and glam. She was hot. But then the plus size girl always had to be the girl who never had any fashion sense at all, had to wear dull clothing, and was always shy. And fashion magazines back then solely viewed just heroin chic skinny models. It's showing that plus size people have to stay in the dark and that skinny people have to rule on top. And again, it's promoting fat phobia. But now you have people like Tess Holliday and other plus size models and people on Cosmopolitan and other big magazines, which is amazing because they should be represented because they're people too. Again, I just think the 2000s was very much like of a sex appeal thing. Like it went from the 90s to being like baggy clothes that was in, like wearing cover up, all that type of stuff, to basically like showing a lot of skin and wearing really revealing and tight clothing, which if you want to wear that, like that's cool, but I feel like to just push that as a narrative for like everybody is a bad idea, because some people are more modest. It's a lot to look up to, especially if you don't feel comfortable showing that part of your body. And then the 2000s fashion is just like, well, this is what's in, so you need to be a part of the trend, or you're not going to be in, or you're not going to be attractive. You know, even though the early 2000s had a lot of fat phobia, I do think the fashion was very like well put together. I like the fashion a lot from the early 2000s. I like the glitz and the glam, the style. It kind of makes me feel like empowered and like feel up there. That's why I like the fashion a lot, but it definitely did need a lot of work, and I'm glad that it's progressed to where it is at now. But everything changes, and I hope you guys like this video. And if you're a small YouTuber, I would love to connect with you. I'm a small YouTuber too, so please leave your channel in the comment section. I'll definitely go check it out and subscribe to your channel. And peace out. See you next week, roomies. Bye.